lovely little puppy Scout. So we're just going down to have a look at the vanilla. Wild Vanilla is a family-owned organic vanilla farm nestled under the rainforest canopy close to where I live in the Atherton Tablelands of far North Queensland. I can't wait to introduce you to their beautiful products. Here we have the farm manager, Jo Whitton. She's pollinating flowers today. So this is the time of year when the flowers need to be pollinated every morning. It smells good in here. Yeah, it does. So India's up to number 223. She has to count them each morning. And I don't know if you can see what she's doing there, but basically the insects that pollinate vanilla do not live in Australia. So you have to do it by hand. It's a very peaceful job here amongst the rainforest.
The ones that are closed are yesterday's ones, and these will be open till like lunch.
It's very time sensitive. So India does this each morning. So about 7:30 till lunchtime. And then the flowers are shut for the day. And you can go home. Okay, so we have Lex and Beck here to tell us all about the vanilla. Thanks so much, guys, for being on the show. We're sitting in this beautiful wild vanilla plantation. Look at it, it's gorgeous. And here we have some lovely snacks, which I'm eager to try. But first of all, oh, and this is Scout. Wait, we've got to meet Scout. Hi, Scout. How you doing? Hey, gorgeous puppy. So if you could tell us a little bit about how you got started growing vanilla and where the idea came from, that would be awesome.
It started in parallel, actually. It's come together as a family thing. But Becky first went off to a vanilla plantation somewhere and then fell in love with it there. And about 5 years ago, I started growing a small number of vanilla plants, and then we got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Just at your place, or?
Yeah, just at my house. I think that 1 kilo or something to start with, and then 10, and then we've got bigger and bigger, and it's grown into something commercial that the whole family does.
Amazing. So how much vanilla is grown here?
Our
so
best
far?
guess is probably, if you include those you're looking at and the others, will be well over 1,000
Plants. Wow.
Yeah.
And how many vanilla beans would you get in a season, I guess?
Yes.
In a one plant?
Well, you've got to think of it like an orchard. So It takes 3 years before they'll actually get quite mature. You'll get a couple of beans maybe the second year, but really 4th year to 5th year, 2 kilos if you do well per vine.
Okay.
That's green beans. Of course, when they're cured and dried, that changes.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about your story and just getting started, how it all began.
So yeah, as Dad mentioned, he had a few plants at home that we were experimenting with and just enjoying, and it got bigger and bigger until it got to this size, which is now we moved all the plants out to our place, and we got some other plants as well from another farm that we've moved out as well, and we are officially launched as a business this year.
Woohoo!
But we still have a long way to go, so we're still waiting for some of the plants to mature and to grow, and we'll be expanding as we can as well.
So can you give us an idea of the process that vanilla goes through from start to finish? Because I think a lot of people have no idea the amount of work that goes into the little bit of vanilla powder or extract or essence that they put into their cooking. And I have had one person ask me, why is vanilla so expensive?
Well, it is a very labour-intensive process that does require a large commitment. So with the vines, they need time to obviously grow and mature, which can take a number of years. And then as they start to flower, we have to hand pollinate each one of those flowers. So the flowers are only open for a few hours every day. If they are not pollinated, they die and we lose that as a potential bean. So it does take a few hours of work every day for a couple of us to come out and fertilise all those flowers, and then we let the plant sit. So the plant sits for up to 9 months. So we have it takes a few weeks for the beans to grow, and then it takes another 6 to 9 months of them to ripen. Once they're ripe, we then come in and hand pick all of the beans. We hand wash all of the beans, and then we hand process and cure all of the beans and package them. So it is a very labour intensive process that does take around a year from beginning to end.
So basically one harvest, one batch per year.
Per year.
That's it.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. With a lot of work.
A lot of work.
And a lot of research. So how did you learn how to do all this?
Oh, I think it's given me the opportunity for the secret nerd to come out and read lots and lots of articles and get very technical about it. It's pretty easy on the internet. Anyone can look up how do you cure vanilla beans, and you'll see that it's simply a process of starting off with a green bean like that. There you go there. And then typically the process, it varies slightly, is plunge it in hot water, wrap it up, keep it warm for 2 days, and then it goes out on the usual process, out on blankets, out in the sun, back in again, until they cure and dry all the way down. So you start off with something like this, and you end up with something like that.
Oh, let me try and get that on the, yeah, there we go.
So you can see it's changed in colour, it's got a lot less weight to it. The green bean has no smell, this one has all the smell and all the odour and all the flavour. In fact, this one smells a bit like wet socks and metho mixed together if you break up a green one. Yeah, lovely.
Wet socks and metho.
And so our real work has been to get it from a process which anyone can do. You can do this if you have a vanilla plant and you go through the process you find on the internet. You'll end up with something quite nice. But to get it consistent and highest possible quality has taken us several years of practice and processing. And we're not going to share that. That's a little bit of a secret. That how we have to manage temperature, airflow, moisture, sunlight and time quite precisely over a period of time to get what we've got there.
It reminds me a lot of coffee, going out to the coffee plantation. Same thing, it smells like, I don't know, green beans or something when you first smell it, and then they go through the fermenting process, and within a few days it's complete, or even a day, it's completely, you've got that beautiful smell. And my sister had a go at making her own roasted coffee from her own bushes, and it was okay, but yeah, the whole scientific, very specific, very precise method to get consistent quality. It's a different ball game.
Oh, it's right up there. There are many times we've gone, what were we thinking? Why did we start this? You know, we started for the joy of it, for the joy of the plant and the joy of vanilla itself.
The challenge.
Yeah. And
now we're processing nearly a tonne a year.
Well, we're
That's
getting
amazing.
up there.
That's amazing. So every plant must have quite a few vanilla beans on it.
Yeah, a couple of hundred when they're fully
on
mature.
one plant.
On one plant when they're
Wow, I didn't realise that.
The vanilla plant itself is actually a vine that we need to train and grow, and the flowers come off that on what's called a raceme, and each raceme releases around 1 flower a day that we then fertilise and process from there.
1 flower, 1 bean, you've got 6 hours, otherwise it's gone.
Yep. So what happens if you're sick or you can't go away on holiday and you can't be sick?
No. So unfortunately,
we call on India.
Yeah, we plan our holidays around the vanilla beans, and then India is our absolute lifesaver. We can't do this farm without her.
She did have some time when she was sick and was out here every morning anyway. She was like,
I know.
She's like, I have to. They have to be pollinated.
She's amazing.
No, that's all right. She survived. She wasn't that sick. She was okay. But it's such a labour of love too, though. You can't just, it's like, I suppose, with any farming, you can't just put it in and leave it. No. And you hear that a lot with farmers. They've got to plan their holidays around, the farm. That's just
and
life.
you don't just put a vine in and walk away and come back in a year. There's lots of training, pruning, fertilising as in with organic fertilisers. So far we've been able to get away with 0 chemicals, sprays.
That's
it's
great.
An organic fertiliser. And it's interesting.
And mulch.
Oh, and mulch, yes. As you can see, there's plenty here on the ground.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about being under the canopy, I guess. You get natural mulch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It keeps the weeds down.
Yeah.
And the humidity up.
And the humidity up.
Ah, and that's important.
But one of the notable things growing so organic is every single plant and flower has a little spider, a little insect, a little bug, a little thing all over the top of it. And it's fine, because while you might lose 1 or 2 flowers per day, the other 99.9% are protected, and that's how we wanted to do it.
So talk about the pollination process, because, yeah, we don't have... Is it a bee or an insect in...
They're not quite sure. They think it's perhaps a native Melaponia bee or the hummingbird. So the hummingbird is in central Mexico. But if we do a video later showing you the flower
Process,
itself,
yeah.
you see why it's so difficult to get the pollen from underneath the male part to the female part. And apparently, I've read that in its native environment, only 1% of flowers actually fertilise and turn into a bean using birds, bees, whatever.
Really?
Yes.
So really, even in Mexico, they kind of do a bit of hand pollinating as well.
Oh, they'd need
Oh,
to.
they
You know
have
what
to.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
nowhere really.
No.
Okay, I thought that it was just because we didn't have the insects. Okay.
No, it's all hand pollinated
Everywhere in the world.
And you're not cross-pollinating between the flowers,
No.
you're pollinating within the flower.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, they're all self-fertile.
yeah.
it's amazing.
But I guess if you only had 1 bean per vine per year, that's, I don't know how many thousands of seeds there are in there.
Well, that's true.
That's a lot of plants that come out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So they are native to Mexico.
Mexico, Central America, little
Yeah.
countries, the Honduras, and up in there in the rainforest. Yeah.
So what do you think you'll be producing from these beans besides powder for Quirky Cooking?
So we have an amazing powder that you're now selling in your store.
It's so good. I just have to say, I had a friend smell it that came over the other day, and she's used to supermarket vanilla powder, or the standard cheaper version of vanilla powder.
Yeah.
And she smelled it. She goes, "Is this even real?"
It's wonderful. That's very
It's just got
encouraging.
such a strong vanilla flavour, a smell, and when you compare it side by side to other powders, you're just like, whoa, why was I using that other one? It smells like nothing.
And I think that's because we use pure vanilla beans that have not been processed or extracted to make vanilla extract or anything like that.
So that's how the cheaper powders are made.
The cheaper powders are made, they are usually the leftovers from extracts where they have taken out the cut vanilla beans, dried those up. So a lot of those chemicals, so vanilla beans have quite a few hundred chemicals in there, and each, as you mentioned with coffee, the processing part is what brings out all the different flavour profiles. And the beans are then usually cut up and made into extract, and the leftovers from that are then dried, ground, and sometimes some fillers are added. And then also...
What kind of fillers?
They'll add glucose, corn flour.
I see.
They're probably the main 2.
Wow.
And then sometimes they'll even put back a little bit of extract to give it a
Extract to
bit
give
of
the
flavour,
flavour.
smell, because it actually can have very little.
And that's why it loses that flavour and that smell so quickly. So ours are, we take these beans and we dry them, and then we pulverise them.
Yeah, so they're
That's
already
it.
cured. We call that a curing process. It's not just drying.
Yep.
And then they're dried even more and then
Freeze-dried.
powdered into
Yeah.
pure powder.
Yeah.
So what you're getting is pure vanilla powder there with nothing else added. And then we will also be selling the beans in different sizes and lengths. And we are currently finessing our vanilla extract, which you've already shared a podcast on.
Yeah.
And once we finish that, we'll be able to start selling that. And then we do have a few other ideas in the pipeline.
Ooh, I'm excited.
The extract's taking a bit longer because it's the next level. And again, it's another whole level of,
Learning.
well, yeah, learning. But people at home can just take a nice vanilla bean and put it in a vodka and give it a shake and keep it cool. Although we recommend not too cool, maybe high 20s, early 30s degrees.
Okay.
And you'll actually get the flavour come out a lot quicker and a lot stronger. So it's not just washing out, it seems to be some little chemical reaction with the vodka. What we're trying to do is do it on a larger scale and get it very, very precise, completely replicatable, and trying to bring out more of the vanilla flavour, the floral notes, and that's turning out to be a little technical. We'll get there.
Yep,
We'll
you
get
will.
there.
You
And-
guys are the ones to do it, I must say.
So there are, in our business, we do have 5 of us in the
Yep.
family who are working together on this farm. So even though this is our current plantation on our property, there are 5 of us spread out in the Tablelands, and my brother in Brisbane who works together to create this business, and then of course India who manages and runs the farm on the day-to-day. So
And then Beck's husband Darren and my
Yep.
wife. So yeah, we've all got our real professional jobs,
Yeah.
and this is sort of our side gig that I don't know how big
Which,
it'll get.
that's what I was going to say. This may take over. Do you
It
realise
may.
that?
I think there's good potential for that. So we all work full time,
Yes.
in addition to managing the farm with India.
Amazing. And a lot of you know Beck from Once a Term Cooking. She's like famous.
And this is why I've been a bit quiet on Once a Term Cooking the last term or two.
Oh, funny that. Yeah, it's amazing all the things that you do, Beck. You amaze me.
So down the track, we'd like to also do paste and other things, but that's like the next level after extract.
Yeah,
So that might be quite some way away, but
little by little.
little by little, well, I said earlier, we started off really liking vanilla, the plant, the vanilla itself, and what we're doing, we're enjoying it mostly. We really just want to share it with everybody. That's
Yeah.
we want. People should be able to share this and enjoy it, and that's really our motivator.
Well, vanilla makes me happy whenever I use it in cooking. Good vanilla.
Yeah.
And right here we have some delicious panna cotta that Beck has made with, what is it, coulis?
Very coolly.
Yum. Can we have a look at? I
Yes.
want to see the beans in there. So this is made with your lovely vanilla beans, and can you see that, guys? Some vanilla.
So this is
in there.
coconut panna cotta with vanilla bean.
Oh, look at that jiggle. Looks delicious. I don't want to record myself eating, so I'll just turn this off for a sec. I'll be back. I wish I could share this with you guys. It is so good. So the coconut vanilla panna cotta recipe, Beck, I know they're going to ask. What shall we say?
Yes, I'll pop it up. That's not a problem. I'll send it to you.
Yum. That is so good. Thank you. Okay, so Beck used a whole vanilla bean in the panna cotta. Well, the seeds from the whole vanilla bean.
Yes.
And here we have some powder. So I find the powder a really cost-effective and easy way to use vanilla because you only need the tiniest bit. It's like concentrated. When I cook with vanilla powder, I usually halve the amount of extract or essence in a recipe and use half the amount with vanilla powder. So if it says a teaspoon of extract, I'll use half a teaspoon of powder. But with Beck's vanilla, oh sorry, I keep saying Beck, sorry Lex. With
That's fine.
wild vanilla.
Wild vanilla. I want her to be the face.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the face. No.
So with wild vanilla, I find it tastes so good and so vanilla-y. Is that a word?
It is now.
That I only use a quarter of a teaspoon instead of a whole teaspoon in recipes. So I have been adjusting my recipes to suit wild vanilla. It's so cool. Yeah, so I had another vanilla for sale in my store, just, what we could find, vanilla powder. And when you guys gave me some sample powder, I put them side by side and compared them, and I was so blown away. I was like, well, I'm sorry, the other vanilla is going. This one is amazing. And so you guys just have to produce this for the rest of your lives so that I can always use it.
We can do that.
So what's some of your... Okay, Beck, you are such a good cook.
Thank you.
So tell us some of your favourite ways to use your vanilla.
So we like to use it in custards. We make a lot of custard with this. We pop it in cream for desserts, things like that. But
Like a whipped cream?
whipped cream, yes. But we've also been experimenting with using it in savouries.
Ah,
So I pop a little bit of vanilla powder in with some salt
yeah.
and use that as rub over lamb and chicken.
Oh my goodness.
And put some spice. So I've been experimenting with that at the moment, and it has really puts in another layer of flavour into the cooking.
I never even thought
well.
of that. Mind blowing.
Yeah, so it's very exciting.
So now we need a Christmas recipe that is like a vanilla salt rub. She says, in my spare time.
Yeah, well, we can play around with that for sure. So that's actually what we've been experimenting with.
You can advise me and I'll work on the recipe.
Oh, it's a great excuse to catch up.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So that's actually what we've been playing around with at the moment.
Oh, that's such a good idea. So lots of new product ideas buzzing around in your head, I bet.
Maybe, at
she
least
says.
one or two.
Well, ideas, but to bring them into fruition takes a lot of time.
Yeah, tell me about it. You come up with so many ideas and one or two happen in a year, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it all takes time and experimentation and
hard
but
work.
because our passion with vanilla is to grow it organically, as organically as possible and as natural as possible, it does take a lot more time.
I think it does. You can't just have rows of it run by machines and sprayed and do whatever. And we're still learning. We're only 3 or 4 years into this, and each week you go, oh, there's something new the plant's doing, or there's something else I hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do the whole thing we call it from dirt to table. Dirt to the plant, to the flower, to the vine, to the bean, to the cured, to the process, to people. So there's a whole lot of stages to learn, but
amazing.
Come on, Scout, want to go for a walk? Come on. All right.
Go and check out the vanilla. So we're going to go down here and Lex is going to show us how the flowers are pollinated with a bit more detail.
We have some flowers here ready for you to fertilise. As you can see, when we fertilise the flower, we actually tear it in half, fold the parts up into each other and hold them together so they stick. It's this part here that actually grows into a bean.
There's one there. Just started.
Okay. All right.
Some of them grow straight, some grow a little curly, and that's how we then
Here's some
Here's some large ones.
larger.
Yeah.
see the ants.
Well, again.
Yep.
So this is the process. You basically have to destroy the flower, unfortunately. Remove the bottom part so you can see. And up here, right down in there, you can see compared to the toothpick, it's tiny. You have to lift up that flap, which exposes the female side of the flower. And under that little flap there is the pollen, which gets pushed down. Press for a moment, and the heat of your thumb embeds that down there. And so that's now fertilised.
Okay.
I'll do another one. So it's really open the flower up so you can see it. You can see all the little insects in there. And lift up this is a bit slow and clumsy, but lift up the bottom flap there so that it exposes the female receptor, and then down with the male part, and that's now fertilised. So this, I'll just pull these off to show you. That stem there becomes the bean. That's actually the female part, which becomes the bean, all that.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, that will sag down, and there's one with the flower still on the end.
Mm-hmm.
The flower dries out, that will sag down. That was done yesterday, and this one unfortunately looks like the flower fell off and will not become a bean. So they don't all turn into beans.
Yeah. So interesting. And how long does the bean take? Did you say 9 months?
It takes, you can see they grow really quite rapidly in size. They'll about 75 days or so to get to maximum size, and then they sit there and look like they don't do anything, but they're actually storing up all the essential chemicals. And then it's around about 9 months they'll start to go from this dark colour to more of this paler green, and then eventually, if they're left, they'll go yellow on the tip and then split open. So they have to be picked just in that couple of weeks where they've gone palish green to yellow. And if anyone wants to find that on Google, they can, of course.
Yeah.
So these plants that you're looking at now, these stacks, we're actually going to be putting into lines later. However, we've moved them out from another place for the
So that's
time
like
being.
on a trellis.
Yeah, they'll be moved onto trellises. So at the moment, they're just being held up with some bamboos. We actually had some friends and my kids and some family come and help us to move all these plants from another place here.
Big job.
A very big job, and we're very grateful for all of their help.
Yes,
So definitely a family business with lots of friends helping.
absolutely.
Yes, and we're very grateful to all
Couldn't
of
have
them. So next time you come out, Jo, hopefully later next year, these will all be put into trellises, into lines.
Beautiful. So you've only got a few hours a day, like in the morning to
Yes.
pollinate. Yeah.
Yep. This flower would have opened this morning. This one will be 2 days away, and this has to be done before about 1 o'clock, and then that will dry. And it's in fact it's starting to close
Starting to
now,
close. Yeah.
mid-morning, and if it's not done by then, there's no being.
There's no going back.
There's no no. That's right.
So it won't open again next morning.
No, it's done.
Just one morning.
It actually withers up and dies and falls off.
Yeah.
So you only get this few hours, and you can get quite quick. I mean, women are quicker than men with smaller fingers, but I can do 15 seconds. I know as many women can do it in 10.
Oh, there you go. Small fingers help.
It does.
So thanks so much, guys, for introducing us to wild vanilla. We're very happy to be able to use it in our cooking. And if we have any questions from listeners, maybe they can find you on Instagram and Facebook now.
Yes.
Yep.
So we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, and at the moment we have a landing site for our website, but we will have that up and running soon.
We'll have it up and running soon.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Jo.
you, and enjoy it.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
wild vanilla.
Woohoo.